This is the BMW 5 Series E. It is powered by a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol and when combined with the electric motor makes 249 brake horsepower. This is a hybrid system from BMW.
Perhaps not one we're really used to because this is a PHEV as well, so a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. On a full charge I get about 30 kilometres, only 30 odd kilometres.
That may seem like a little amount. Even the petrol engine when full says 500 kilometres range. I thought this was going to be a very expensive week.
It's proven me wrong. I have done 464 kilometres at the wheel of this vehicle over the week that I've had it. I had one trip to the airport and back in a very early morning scrabbly thing, and I thought, well, you know, why would you buy this over a diesel? Well, let me explain. So you get all the performance. Relatively speaking, the horsepowers and all that sort of thing are around the same as the 530 diesel. You know, you're not going to get much more performance from a car than you will from this. The fuel tank, the batteries are kind of in the middle around the back seat, so they've moved the fuel tank around a bit, which gives you a lot less boot space. Shade over 400 litres. I'd say 400 useful litres would be about right. But remember, you're going to be carrying around a lot of electric cables, two different kinds, depending on what you need to charge it from, and whether you're even going to bother charging it, which is the other part of it. So what happens when you don't charge it? There's the issue, because once you start to run out of electricity, this car becomes just a petrol-powered vehicle, which will not be as efficient, and that is not allowed these days. So we do have some extra modes. Normally on a BMW you have Sport, Comfort and Eco Pro. Eco Pro is the one that I kind of lean towards. It's very clever. It only recharges the car when you're at lower speeds, when it knows it's not going to disturb the drive. It tries to make you freewheel as much as you possibly can. Very clever. Comfort does none of that. Comfort just charges the car the whole time, or tries to regenerate power as much as possible through deceleration, but it does actually come on just a tiny bit too much. In other words, drawing some power away from the engine. Sport does none of that, just uses all the battery you have and all the petrol power you have and flings you along the road in that BMW style. That slightly, I don't know if I'm crashing or just taking this corner really well mode is Sport mode on this. But there's a fourth mode which is called E-Drive. It's a totally different button at the bottom. You can press that, and once you go in there you can go Max E-Drive. Max E-Drive. That means the car will drive as far as it possibly can on electric, which is 30 kilometres. Not much. Then you have battery control. What that will do is you set a target as to what you want the car to do with the battery, so recharging it, and the car will use every available ounce of extra fuel that it gets or anything it can do to try and generate battery power but not use it. And that will be useful for, say, if you're on a longer drive, so you're driving from Dublin to Cork or something. When you get to the city in Cork, you want to have some power left in the battery to actually trundle about the city in, but you're not going to charge it along the way. You could use that. So Auto E-Drive allows you to cut in and out of the battery powered drive system without thinking about it. It just does it on its own, and that's quite nice. Now, forgetting about the electronic hybrid PHEV end of stuff, what's it like as a car? Fantastic. I bet you I was going to say something else there. Fantastic. This is a beautifully composed, incredibly well put together experience of a car. That's not something I take lightly. Very few cars give an experience of driving. This actually manages it. The perfect size, diameter steering wheel and size of steering wheel, perfect seating position. I do feel like I'm looking out a picture frame out the front. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. It's a car I'd have no problem spending many, many happy hours at the wheel of. The outside is a little bit more unremarkable, I suppose. It's not a big transformation from the last 5 Series. It's very subtle. There is some extra fins and holes and things that they put in the sides of the car, but realistically it's not that very much different from the last one. So maybe it's a little subtle change for other people, but in here the change is remarkable. We have connected drive system now as standard. Of course, there is probably going to be a universal charge for this after a bit, but for the first period of ownership it's actually going to be free. Also BIK, this being an electric car, will also be free for the first year, but that means nothing because you guys get a tax VAT rebate on diesel. And so government, you are completely useless to me, as per usual. Nobody in the governmental department decided to ask any of us journalists what they should do. No. Of course, don't give VAT back on petrol. Petrol is somehow not a business source. But anyway, this has Apple CarPlay, and unlike the Audi system, it is actually a touchscreen. This is a proper touchscreen, and so I can use it as that. And that's very important, Audi, by the way, when it comes to using your Apple CarPlay, because otherwise you're stuck to this wheel thing in the middle, and it's clunky if it's not a touchscreen. The dashboard layout is absolutely gorgeous. Love that LED. It's all LED now. There's no mechanical backup to it anymore. So what's not to like here? Well, range is still an issue. I mean, I've done 470 kilometers of travel. I've charged it maybe 5 or 6 times in that time. I mean, from home and street charging and stuff. I still have, according to the petrol engine, 248 kilometers of range just for petrol, right? Which makes my kind of round total maybe 600 to 700 kilometers, which is bloody good. I mean, considering a lot of big diesels this size will only do 800, 900 kilometers depending on the fuel tank. Doing 600 to 700 from this petrol hybrid car is very, very good. But it takes convincing. And until the government go, you know what, you can have your VAT back on petrol as well as diesel, business users, then you'll find that the business users will transfer over to these petrol cars or these hybrid cars. The problem is they can't do that right now. So what's the incentive? What is BIK? First year only though. That makes no sense. Recently the government brought in benefit in kind, it's called. Recently the government brought in measures to control benefit in kind, and it means that business users who buy an electric or a hybrid car don't have to pay a BIK for the first year. 1 year? Really? Nobody holds on to a car for 1 year. Nobody. Everybody does 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Normal home users who can't, nothing at all to do with BIK, buy their car and hold on to it for now, currently, an average of 8 years. So what's the point in 1 year? So thank you very much for watching this lovely little episode. I am on Instagram. You will find me at Bob Flavin. Loads of car pictures and running pictures and travel pictures, and I do not daily things, but I do stories. I do Instagram stories on interesting things. I don't really do it every day. It's pretty my life is pretty boring normally, so not every day, but they're all there. You can get it on Twitter as well. I'm not so active, or not very active on Twitter. I'm on Facebook as well, but I hate that company. I hate what it stands for. I hate what it does, and I particularly hate the app, which absolutely eats my phone storage and just lags, and it's listening to you when it's not even turned on. It's listening to you and throws you targeted ads after that. Of course it is. God, you gave her permission to use this microphone. You can check out my Patreon link down below. I know some of you are still submitting on the Patreon thing. I would really love to increase that, because it has been... Oh, my lads, you have no idea how much is needed for the way YouTube has been behaving, generally speaking. So if you can give on Patreon, yeah, brilliant. If you can't, maybe you can do a single, like a tip jar thing, which would be bobflav@thenextgear.com on PayPal. You will find me there. But until the next time, I will see you on the far side.